Organization Undoing Tax Abuse is calling for bold interventions to help minimize load shedding. OUTA is calling on the government to consider revisiting self-generation solutions on a large scale to help reduce pressure on Eskom. It says the power utility needs to provide answers on why 7 of its units tipped simultaneously. For more on this, I'm joined by Ronald Chauke, who is the Energy Portfolio Manager of Organization Undoing Tax Abuse. Good evening, Ronald. Thanks very much for coming through. I want to ask you to perhaps try and answer the very question that you are posing. Why, in your view, are so many of, stations tripping?
No, honestly speaking, Vuyo, there is a lot of problems associated with what you call the legacy of poor maintenance of the existing coal fleet. Remember that maintenance has got what you call the other inherent features of the plant age, as well as, those chronic breakdowns, given the fact that when you drive a car continuously without servicing it, unfortunately, you're going to find yourself in a situation whereby you will end up sleeping on the side of the road. That's exactly what Eskom is doing. That is the interesting part of it. However, let's look at the reality of the situation. We are dealing with what we call bad management, poor decisions that were supposed to not have happened at Eskom. And then secondly, when you look at the nature of the leadership that is in Eskom, we are dealing with a situation whereby people are in position of power, but they are not delivering on what is expected. For instance, me and you are electricity users. We are paying them a salary bill of 30 billion rand per annum. From me and you, what value do we get out of it? We get nothing out of it. And then people are there in positions.
But then, Ronald, what you're saying about the legacy of poor maintenance is what we've been told before, right?
Yes.
What you're saying about bad management in the past is something we've been told before.
That's correct.
The people you're saying we're paying 30 billion rands, in salaries,
yes,
are people who were there, who've been there, and who told us only a month ago that as much as we are going to have problems, they are going to try and reduce the nature and extent of those problems, that they are going to deal with this situation, let's put our hopes in them. So everything that is being said now, today, all these factors, everything applied only a month ago. And we're told some people weren't even going on leave because and that was to make sure that what we're experiencing now doesn't happen again. So what happened?
To be honest with you, the minister has got a good intention. However, remember, talking is one thing and delivering is something else. The situation which we are sitting at the present moment is a point whereby when you look at the people in those critical positions, you need to start to ask yourself a question as to whether are they the right people with the right skills and the right expertise and the boldness to execute any given task. Or you are just dealing with people whom we can call check collectors. That is one thing. And then the next thing which you need to acknowledge is the reality that if Eskom from its own, the board and the EXCO, is unable to give us the confidence to say that, guys, our 9-point plan actually is yielding positive results. Within the last 30 days, we have managed to mitigate against all risks. So our plants are performing at their best and everything like that. We are in a bad situation. For instance now, ask yourself as to whether what is happening with the stocks of diesel, given the fact that Eskom knows that the old power stations are having challenges of performance. Are we having sufficient stocks of diesel to come up, and help us as emergency generators to minimize the impact? The answer to that, you might find that even our diesel procurement and stock levels is even at its lowest. While it's from time to time they tell us that, they need a tariff increase, they need me and you to pay them more. Then the difficult question which me and you we must deal with is that I'm paying my bills, I'm up to date with my monthly electricity bills, but when I go home now today, there is no power. What is expected of me?
So you're encouraging self-generation solutions?
That is the best option to go. And then, unfortunately, that self-generation option, remember, it will come with unintended consequences as well. Because the more the people go towards self-sufficiency, the Eskom sales are going to dip even further down, meaning that Eskom revenues are likely to be compromised, and then they're also going to come back again and say that I need even a more higher tariff increase, of which for me and you is unsustainable, unacceptable, and unaffordable. And then basically Eskom need to change its business model and the way in which they do business.
I'm sure a lot of people will say, we don't care about Eskom because they don't care about us. So what are those solutions?
The solutions now is that the Department of Energy, from the reported stock which we have, has almost more than 2,000 megawatts, which is awaiting the green light from government and the energy regulator for people to start to do that self-generation. We believe that that 2,000 megawatts, if ever we expedite that approval process, it will give Eskom actually a breathing space to sort out its performance, plant maintenance, as well as, replenish its stocks of water for the pump storage systems, as well as the diesel stocks, so that the levels of load shedding shouldn't escalate to more than, let's say, for instance, stage 2. As you can see now, yesterday we were at stage 4 at a heavy cost, which when you can calculate it, actually, when you take it at, let's say, for instance, 75 rand per kilowatt hour, is basically at stage 4, we are between losing economically from a value point of view between 4 billion rand and 5 billion rand per day, not per month, per day. So basically it is bad, it is catastrophic, and it is not helping us to address the problems of the country.
Scary.
It's scary stuff.
Ronald Chauke, who is the Energy Portfolio Manager for the organization Undoing Tax.